Yeah, so as usual, the president gave his usual Tobaski message. This time it was done at the prayer grounds in Banjul, where the president, His Excellency, extended heartfelt Tobaski greetings to all Muslims in the Gambia, but also around the world. He also commended Gambians for their enduring commitment to peace and unity as well. And then he specifically congratulated Gambian pilgrims currently in Mecca performing the Hajj. So that was a very good speech where he also emphasized the government's resolve to fight corruption and impunity in the country.
On the pilgrims, did he acknowledge that, there have been complaints this time?
Well, he doesn't have to acknowledge it in the speech. That should be acknowledged through action. Action was taken, and some of the complaints and those have been resolved. Obviously, there's a ministry responsible for that, and there's a minister responsible for religious affairs. Those complaints were brought to their attention, and they took the necessary measures to make sure that those complaints have been resolved. So that doesn't have to come on the president's speech.
Okay.
Apart from that, this Scabies issue in Brufut, last week a caller called to say that it's still open, even though the Ministry of Basic Education made a press release that it was closed. Upon further engagement with the minister, I came to realize that those who are infected are still there, undergoing treatment. They are quarantined there because the scabies is highly contagious. And advice from the Ministry of Health was that they should stay in the premises to get treatment there. But those who are not infected were relocated to other madrasas. And the Ministry of Health is taking measures, working with Gambia Immigration Department and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, to make sure that this issue is being resolved.
Immigration Department, I would suggest that the people involved may not all be Gambian.
Well, it's actual. I think the first institution to really find this out was the Immigration Department. They do these rounds, inspections. I think they're the ones who brought this to the attention.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. There must be suspicion that either some of the teachers there or the owners of the school may not be Gambian.
Well,
and
I
so
wouldn't know the role of... Yes.
I don't think they would go to St. Augustine's High School, for instance.
I agree with you. I wouldn't know an exact role of immigration. I think they'll enlighten me at some point later. But I know that they're also involved. It is possible that because remember, some of these children who come from other countries as well, come from Senegal and neighboring countries to go to school here. That might be the case. I'm not saying that is not that might be the case. That might
that
be
doesn't warrant immigration officers going into a school.
Involvement.
I mean,
well, I don't know. I know that they would during inspection.
Let's just say we'll find out what the role of the immigration department is in all this.
Yes,
if you had said
exactly.
the army, the armies usually have their own medical corps.
But if we have non-Gambians there, the immigration department has business there, particularly if they're over 18.
That's what I'm saying. I am saying, are they there because either the owners or most of the children are known to be non-Gambian?
I would assume so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would assume so. Now, apart from that, Peter, I'd like to just focus on something that, whenever we talk about the president and the government's unprecedented moves to transform this country, we normally focus on the hard aspects of development: roads, schools, hospitals, like infrastructure. And there are three things that we normally leave behind, and I want to emphasize that today, and the steps this government is taking to make sure that we also promote those aspects. One is the human capital development. I am pleased to inform Gambians of the measures that this government is taking to promote human capital development. Currently, as we speak, we've invested a lot in TVET education, to the extent that we have two different models which are working concurrently. We have the multipurpose TVET centers, which teach young people construction, civil engineering, tailoring, welding and fabrication, and so on and so forth. And we've got one in Demban, one in Kanilai, in Mansakonko, in Julangel, training over 1,000 young people into different fields. And this is all fully funded by the Gambia government. But also at the same time, we are building one in Wasu at the same time, another multipurpose TVET center. In addition, we have also specialized TVET centers. We are building one in Tujereng, which will focus on aquaculture and fisheries. And we are building also another one in Pachar, in CRR South, which will also teach young people agriculture, that will focus only on agribusiness, specialized. All these are geared towards ensuring that young people are given the right tools and the skills to make it. Peter, I believe that any politician who tells any young person that vote me and I'll change your life, they are lying to you. The only way you change young people's life is to empower them with the tools they need to succeed in life, and that is what this government is doing. And those tools are skills and education. That is why we've invested a lot in building a new university called USED, which will be in fact inaugurated sometime this month. Brand new, for the first time, we have our own university campus that teaches science and technology. This will be inaugurated. We are going to have our locally produced civil engineers, electrical and electronic engineers that are working together with other universities across the world. The USED will be inaugurated this month. But also with the TVET education, we don't only give the young people education as a government, we also provide capital for startups, so that when you finish your agribusiness or your aquaculture and you have a good project to go and do your own business, government gives you money for to do a startup. So these are some of the youth-led projects that we've done. We also give scholarships to these young people who are in the TVET centers as well. They don't pay. But also UTG, we are currently giving out 2,300 young people scholarships at UTG. We spend $36 million every year to transport them to Faraba Banta every morning and back again to attend their classes. But the good news is also that we are building almost a 2,000-room dormitory. The foundations will be laid very soon. This is together with MRC Holland Foundation and Brother Future. We are working to build a 2,000-bed dormitory at the university, so we don't need to have the buses anymore. For the USED, it's very important that we have our own university, which teaches children science and technology. Now, what we are, the policy we are launching today is called the Madrasa Integration Policy. For the first time in the history of this country, this is happening. A strategy to integrate madrasa education into post-secondary education, so that those young people who have gone to the madrasas can now also get access to go to university or to get TVET education. But also, we've also included integrated STEM and TVET education into the madrasas. So what the idea is as a government is
so you're going to be teaching them science, technology, engineering,
because the idea is that because the whole traditionally we think that, okay, if you go to madrasa, the only job you can get is to become an ustaz. No, we want to go beyond that as a government. We think that you can be an ustaz and be an engineer. You can go to madrasa, you graduate, you can become an engineer, you can become a tailor, you can become an electrician, you can be anything. It doesn't matter which school you go to.
Imam Babali is an engineer.
That's exactly, and he used to work for GUC, I understand.
Exactly.
So obviously, so you can the tailoring, agriculture, aquaculture, all these things all these things we are really doing to make sure we don't only create a reservoir of effective and efficient and productive human capital, but also empowering young people to make it in the Gambia. That's the only way you can help young people. It's not telling them all sorts of stories. It's to give them the tools they need in life and the skills to succeed on their own. And I think we are really successfully doing that.
Are you telling me this in response to opposition politicians who've been on the program recently, castigating the government for not, putting the emphasis on youths and hence, fueling the backway syndrome, the exodus of young Gambians?
Well, honestly, I haven't listened to that. I've been very busy this week, so I didn't get the chance to listen to
lucky you, because you would have had some painful things.
Well, like I said, Peter, we're focused. Others can talk whenever they have the opportunity to do so. But one thing I can tell you, Peter, is that all those who are talking, all those opposition spokespeople who are talking and criticizing the government, they don't bring alternatives to the table. Now, I want you to ask them, some of them who are saying cost of living is expensive, rice is expensive, tell us what you can do differently from what we are doing to bring the cost of rice down.
Sekou Kamara was on the program yesterday, and he gave us the alternative to an NPP-led government, what they would do.
Now you can give an alternative, but not a realistic alternative. Some of these are idealistic alternatives. Because what I'm saying, when we see a realistic alternative, we'll know. What I'm telling you is that currently, as we speak, the best we can get in the Gambia is the NPP-led coalition government and what we are providing. Anybody else who's talking is just being idealistic. We want realistic alternatives, not idealistic alternatives. What I'm trying to say here is that let them come and tell us what they will do differently They need to first know what we are doing.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but you can.
Sekou Kamara provided that yesterday.
Yeah, but I didn't listen to it, but I would presume it's idealistic.
It's on YouTube. You can.
Okay, I listen to it. What I'm saying is, first tell us what they need to know first what we are doing. Some of them will come with their ideas, but they don't even know what we are doing. First, I want you to convince me. Tell me what I am doing, how I am doing it, and tell me what is wrong with what I'm doing, and this is how you will do it. Then I might listen to you, but don't just come with your idealistic ideas from that
you're asking for a debate. Who would you want to debate? From the opposition.
I know anybody who debates me will live to regret it.
Who would you like to debate?
Anybody.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that nobody can come with an alternative, a realistic one, that first points understands our model of development, our model of governance, and our model, our policies, understand it deeply, and find flaws and weaknesses in it, and highlights these flaws and weaknesses and why it's not working. It's like, and diagnose us, do a proper diagnostics of our development model, and find faults in these diagnostics and tell us why it is not working, and then counter it with prescriptions, policy prescriptions that you think is better than ours. Then we'll start listening to you. But we don't just want you to go and diagnose other societies and think that what can work in other societies can work here, and you bring those prescriptions, they will fail. So they don't have they are not an alternative. They don't have
development is not a one size fits all.
It is not. But for now, the NPP-led government is the best that we can have in terms of policy goals, in terms of policy objectives, or also in terms of policy and development implementation. So I think all these things were you doing for young people, and also for the women as well. We've been doing a lot of work empowering women. One of the key flagship projects that this government is doing is the Women Enterprise Fund. This Women Enterprise Fund supports small and micro entrepreneurs. These are women. They help those who are starting, but also help those who have already started and want to scale up. Now, in 2020, from 2020 to May 2025, we've helped 75,900 women, disbursing over $82,950,000, giving them access to capital, access to cash. And this is fully funded by the Gambia government to empower women to make it in the Gambia. This the government is doing. In addition to that, we have what they call the Women Economic Empowerment Project. Here, the strategy is to reduce infant and maternal mortality in the Gambia. And this was piloted in Kiang in 14 villages. And when they did the pilot for the first year, there was 0 incidents of infant and maternal mortality in the piloted villages. Is to give these women the skills to make income, but also help them with life skills, and also so all these things we are doing now, because it's successful in Kiang, we are going to replicate it and scale it up to other parts of the country. This is funded by the UNFPA. So all these are, we also have the NAFACA, the Family Strengthening Program, which also benefited 2011 individuals. These individuals are sourced from the GBOS data, and focus is on the elderly, the orphans, widows, but also people with disability. And we collect data from GBOS to give support in terms of cash transfer to these vulnerable groups in society. So all these are policies that the government is doing to ensure that we achieve 3 things: women empowerment, youth empowerment, but also building the necessary human capital base that the country needs to move.
End of updates?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, there's
but,
one
but, but for the madrasa, today we are launching the policy. It's a strategy. And like I said, is to ensure that now we expand also the human resource base and not focusing only on those who do conventional education, but also who are in the madrasas. We catch them and make sure that we integrate them into post-secondary education. This will also expand our human capital base.
Fantastic, fantastic. I thought you were going to actually start with the gentleman who has been chasing Nawek for 39 years for water, and you people, did something about it. Would you like to share that with the public?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what was done. What I know is that I did the introduction with the MD. I arranged for them to meet, and I know that they met. After that, I'm not sure what has been done. For me, my job was done.
I can help you fill in the blank spaces.
Yes.
Because we spoke on Tuesday. Again, through your assistants, the managing director, met him on Wednesday afternoon at 1:00.
Yeah.
They had a very fruitful conversation. The managing director, from what I understand, has given a 30-day window for his water problem to be solved.
Oh, okay.
So by the end of June, Mr. Ba should be calling to say that
Whether he has water.
that he has water.
Good.
If he doesn't call, it's a failing not only on NAWEC, but the managing director himself.
Yes.
Because it's his reputation now on the line.
Of course.
Because Mr. Ba spoke very highly of him. He made sure that, he insisted on paying for his passage back, and all of that. So he's done a great job.
Yep.
And, what it has revealed is that, really there is so much wrongdoing within NAWEC, to the point where, the managing director said,
Has to intervene.
Has to intervene. To say, well, I insist, it has to be done within this, because my understanding is when he called the person who was, responsible, all he said was, no, but we don't have pipes. And then the managing director said, don't worry, I will make sure that there are pipes.
Wow.
So really, NAWEC, you guys who work there, you really need to, reassess yourselves.
Yes,
honestly.
I think, Peter, you are right.
And Mr. Sedi is Gallo Sedi, not so?
Gallo,
he needs
Gallo.
to be. He needs to be commended.
Yeah, he needs to be supported by staff as well.